Hello everyone, welcome live to 3Wide TV, tonight's broadcast of the National Sim Racing Association Taz Racing Customs Superspeedway Series from a very bumpy Daytona Superspeedway. I am Peter Short, and joining me in the booth here tonight is Justin White. And Justin, we've been catching our eyes and seeing all of these bumps here around this old Daytona. It's going to be a wild ride for all these drivers tonight.
Yeah, especially with this new Cup car, this Camaro style. This track is bumpy. There's nothing but sparks flying out when I took a couple of laps a few minutes ago. These cars are fast and they are low to the ground, and this track is extremely bumpy.
Yeah, that absolutely is. Let's see if we can go on board with one of the drivers out there on the racetrack right now. Let's see if we can go on board with Colin Ullery right here in the number 62 machine as he blasts down the backstretch here. And yeah, just tell the people watching here on YouTube a little bit about this racetrack and the fact that it was repaved around 2007.
Yeah, these NASCAR drivers started voicing their opinions about this track being a little too bumpy for safety. NASCAR recognized it, so they decided to repave it, and it was a massive undertaking. I think they run the Daytona 500, and then immediately as soon as the 500 was over, they started repaving this track. And I think they had it done in like 3 months, give or take, because they had to have it ready for July.
Yeah, that is definitely true. And you see Colin Ullery there having of a hiccup in his car. He's going to return back to his pit box, but definitely was something that a lot of drivers got a little bit antsy about. But of course, we still have it here in iRacing. You can see those bumps right there. That's the number 12 of Shane Ledoux going over those bumps and getting around I think that is the number 99 there of Philip Scott in the National Ninja League machine. If you missed the news this week, Philip Scott actually going to be in the next season of American Ninja Warrior. So make sure you check that one out. We'll bring up the practice times up there. Brett Wilson, fastest in practice. Garrett Gleason, second. Colin Ullery, Jeffrey Vickery, and also rounding out your top 5, the number 09 of Christopher Lawrence. Is the 12 of Ledoux. Is going to practice getting to pit road. Very difficult to get onto pit road here with this bumpy Daytona.
Yeah, there's a few bumps as you come off turn 4 that if you're not on the brakes at the right time and that car gets a little bit of air, you will take that tail end and put it out in front of the nose really, really quick.
Yeah, that is for sure. He's going to come down to his pit box here and just all of a sudden going to move over into the qualifying session here in just a brief moment. Folks, we thank you for joining us here tonight on 3Wide TV. We've got Tana Himmelman, Logan Detweiler, and Rich Ryder in the chat here tonight. Rich Ryder rooting on the number 42 machine. Check an eye out, figure out what machine is Evan Burke. We'll see if we can go on board with him here as these cars start to roll out for qualifying here in just a brief moment, because the checkered flag has come out on that practice session that we had. All the drivers getting as much practice time in as possible. But why don't we go on board here with Hunter Parsons working his way off pit road, now working his way on to the racetrack through turn number 1 and 2, and it's even bumpy down there.
Yeah, there's a massive bump coming off pit road that if you don't hit it just right, you'll end up crossing that double yellow line and actually get a pit road exit safety violation. So you have to come back down pit road and sit down pit road for about 40 seconds. So not definitely something you want to be a part of, because the draft is a big key factor here.
Yeah, that it is, and he's working his way now up onto the high banks, and you'll see a lot of these drivers go up there towards that wall, and at least for their first 2 time laps. But here with all those bumps, you really don't want to flirt with the wall all too much, because even if you just get out of the groove just a little bit, it can be day done for you and that race car, that is for sure. Now going off into turn number 1 and 2, you see right there below that white line, that's probably a good call, not flirting with that outside wall. That can spell absolute disaster here now onto the backstretch. So far, so good for the number 20 here of Hunter Parsons.
Yep, he's keeping it close to the wall, trying to keep that momentum up, trying to run that middle to high line, because that's the smoothest way around this racetrack. And I don't know if it's the fastest, but let's see if he can get to the top of the board.
He's going to work his way coming out of turn number 4 here to the start-finish line. And We'll bring up those qualifying times as they start to come up. And Hunter Parsons there in the number 20 machine will be the first one to post a time. Andrew Himmelman, second car to post a time. You see more cars now starting to plop in their first of 2 qualifying lap times. But so far, so good. For a couple of people, looks like this 56 is going to jump to the top of that, of course, is the number 56 of Monty Glover. Kyle Lewis currently slotting into second. But as I say that, the number 38 of Evan Dupree going to jump up into second, but of course, lap number 2, usually your fast lap here on these super speedways, and we have seen some thrilling races here in the Taz Racing Customs Super Speedway Series. Big shout out to Taz Racing Customs for sponsoring this series. Make sure you check them out for all of your custom diecast needs, but look like Hunter Parsons here will be the first to complete his second time lap, and pretty respectable lap time. Going to jump up to the top of the board with a 48.279, but will it hold?
Yeah, there's like 2 or 3 tenths faster. It looks like Monty Glover just run his second lap, and he was a little bit faster, but nowhere near that 48.279.
Yeah, that number 20 right now really wound up the number... Chris Darling, the number 47 machine, the M&M's Toyota Camry going to jump to the top of the board. How about that? We've also seen some really good qualifying out of Colin Ullery, but doesn't look like he will be on the pole here tonight. Got a couple of poles to his name so far this season, but as of right now, looks like he's going to be buried just inside the top 10 around the 8th position, but a really, really good field here tonight, Justin.
Yeah, these guys have been racing 4 or 5 weeks now, and they're starting to get a handle and fill out for each other about who's a good drafting partner and who is somebody you kind of want to leave hanging out to dry. So we're going to see those guys that work well together come. They're going to find each other really quick on this track, and they're going to go to the front and mostly stay up. Or the number 9 there is that the 0? No, that's the number 9. I think that is James Lorello, and he actually was really fast last week and led most of the laps last week.
Yeah, that is true. We've seen a lot of pace out of James Lorello, but let's see if we can figure out what's going on out there on the racetrack, see if we've got any others. We do have the number 97 machine. That is Mike Tellier there. He is working his way around the racetrack, trying to get his lap time in before the checkered flag falls on this qualifying session. We'll see if we can bring up his information. Currently sitting down in the 15th position, headed down the backstretch, and looks like that is going to be all she wrote for the number 97. Philip Scott, one of his teammates, though, out there on the racetrack, currently down in 19th. That's quite low for Philip Scott. We'll see what he can do on lap number 2, see if he can pick it up, because this will be a timed lap with just 10 seconds left, just barely squeaking out that lap time. And he is going to jump up the board to 6th position, so just outside the top 5 for the number 99, but the checkered flag has fallen, and Chris Darling will be starting on the Taz Racing Customs pole for tonight's race. Definitely going to be an interesting one here tonight, that's for sure, with all the bumps. Hopefully we don't see a lot of cautions, but you never really know here at Daytona when you actually do start to get these cars rolling. And speaking of getting these cars rolling, let's see if we can get the grid started for you folks here tonight. Chris Darling will be starting on the inside of row number 1. Hunter Parsons to his outside. Great qualifying run for that number 20 machine. Row number 2, Cody Nevin and Woody Woodward in that number 8 machine. On row number 3, we got Christopher Lawrence there in the 09 with Philip Scott in the number 99, just barely pipping out the checkered flag to get 6th spot on the grid. Row number 4, Monty Glover, Ben Mashburn, and rounding out your top 10 there, Evan Dupree and Colin Ullery there, Justin.
Just a minute, I got to pull it up. In row 6 will be Shane Ledoux and Josh Sobel starting out there. Let's see here. I'm trying to get all my screens pulled up. I lost them. All my stuff just crashed on me.
Well, I can continue on here for now. Kyle Lewis, Brett Wilson will be on row number 7. Row number 8, James Woodard and Mike Floppy Tellier in the number 97 machine. Row number 9, Garrett Gleason, Ben Adams in the number 5 machine, rounding out the 18th position. Row number 10, and rounding out your top 20, Andrew Himmelman, Brian Dupree. Row number 11, Jeffrey Vickery, Evan Gilbert, Drew Eisenman, and Cole Henriksen on row number 12. Row number 13, back behind them, would be Evan Burke. Justin, of course, you're up here in the booth. And then that will be it, as there's no one on row number 14, so 25 cars here tonight around the famed Daytona International Speedway, and it will be the number 47 M&M's Toyota Camry of Christopher Darling that will get us underway here in just a little bit. There is a field just waiting to roll off of pit road, so we'll see that Ford Mustang pace car start to roll off. Cole Henriksen in the chat saying, let's go Hunter Parsons, let's have some fun. And great to have you in the chat, Cole. Hopefully you can sit back and relax and have a good race out there here tonight. There we go, finally rolling out onto the racetrack. And Justin, probably a lot of butterflies in the stomachs of all these drivers right now.
Oh yeah, those guys are definitely, I'm already hearing in the chat, there's a few running into each other, so the butterflies are already getting to them. But the two two drivers I'm going to watch here real close when this race starts is that number 23 of Ben Mashburn, the number 47 of Chris Darling, and the third one will be the number 5 of Ben Adams. Those three worked pretty well together last week, and they got caught up on a little bit of pit road issues on that first pit stop, and then they turned around and caught the main pack from almost 6 seconds back by working together. So I'm looking forward to seeing those three get back together again.
Yeah, that is true. We had a really good race last week, as you get a little bit of a look here around the racetrack before we go green. Man, it's going to be fun to watch all the cars blast by this camera shot as you look towards turn number 4 here in just about a lap from now. But at least the field is starting to get things lined up. There is that number 23 of Ben Mashburn that you were just talking about there, Justin. Definitely one of the big standouts here so far this season in the Taz Racing Customs Superspeedway series.
Yep, he seems to have this draft package down on these new cars. So let's see what he can do to get to the front here.
Speaking of the front, looking towards the front, the pace car about to head down pit road, put the race into the hands of Christopher Darling in the M&M's Toyota Camry, and he's already on the loud pedal. You see them slowly get up to speed. The outside line not going. Who was that there on the outside groove? Was that the 09 machine? Someone, oh, it's the 8 machine, and we're already got contact, the 8 and the number 99, and oh dear, that is heavy contact. The 8's on his lid. Before we even get to turn number 1, that was Woody Woodard in that race car. We're going to have to go back and get a replay of this one because it just seemed like that number 8 machine did not get going here on the start.
No, we did not. He definitely looks like he missed a shift there, Peter, and I think the 99 tried to go around him because he missed a shift, and then looks like the 99, maybe he had a little net coat against the wall and then just come down and took them both out.
Yeah, and the 8 machine on his lid. I really want to slow that down one more time. You can see it looked like he missed that shift, like you said, and just we'll slow this down a little bit. The blimp was way out of position for this one, folks, but yeah, I think, like you said, the number 99 might have caught some wall, and it was on from there. We'll go back live now at the front of the field because we were side by side for the race lead. It was Hunter Parsons able to lead lap number 1, but look at all those cars with a little bit of a hop and a skip down the backstretch, hitting all those bumps.
Yeah, it's definitely bumpy. You won't see those guys pull up and push each other too much like on a smooth Daytona surface. So the handling is a big key factor here. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, we're riding on board right now with Monty Glover, the number 56 machine, as he looks out back of Christopher Lawrence's number 9 Army machine, blasting their way around the racetrack. And this just gives you a sense of those bumps. You can almost feel them, just every jolt here around the racetrack, just the cars pancaking their way through turn number 1 and 2. And I just love this shot of these cars racing out of turn number 2 down to the backstretch, just absolutely hauling the mail here, going 195 miles an hour over these bumps.
Yeah, they say if you're actually on the old school surface, it was actually bone jarring. You could feel every bump into your back up to your skull. It was absolutely jarring in any type of car. Can you imagine the harder tire that they used to run here? This track is extremely abrasive and extremely bumpy out here in the middle, Central Florida sun, 100 degrees plus sometimes.
Absolutely. Now, we do have a fast repair here in the Taz Racing Customs Superspeedway Series. There is the number 8 machine of Woody Woodard able to get back out there onto the racetrack. We're also seeing Philip Scott in the number 99 machine. He's coming down pit road right now, being scored 1 lap down. So not sure if he came down pit road on his own accord, used a faster pair, or even might have got a speeding penalty. But he's going to head back up there onto the racetrack. But up at the front, it is Hunter Parsons in that number 20 machine using the high line. And we've talked about that high line in iRacing being a line where you can get a run up there. Usually you can be nice and quick up there because you don't have any type of accordion effect because of the way these cars kind of ebb and flow together on that inside groove. So you, at least in my opinion, Justin, typically when you come to Old Daytona, the high line is the line that you actually want to be in. It's much easier to keep your foot flat and draft just because of that larger radius coupled with all the bumps.
Yeah, I like to call that the Dale Earnhardt Jr. or the Dale Earnhardt line because that's where those guys primarily run, and they wanted to get a good run going. And all the the Pop Popper of Daytona would pull every car with them on that high line, and that high line you just stay on that loud pedal as long as possible. And as you see here, you'll see the is it the 20 car? Yeah, the 20 car pull down. He got a good bump from the 95, I believe, and that shoved, or a 58, and that shoved him right out in front of Chris Darling. And the only way you can do that is on that high line.
Yep, so now Hunter Parsons up to the front, Chris Darling back to second. They are 3 wide, or excuse me, 2 wide, a little bit further back, almost 3 wide. Oh, that was one car in the wall. That was one of the SimShots machines. Was that the number 4, or was that the number 5? I think that was the 5. It was the 5. Yeah, we'll go back and get another look at exactly what happened here on the backstretch to Ben Adams right there in the number 5 machine. Oh, man, that was the, whoa, that was the number, was that the number 8 again, having some issues? Some car back there, but you saw Ben Adams also have a little bit of a moment. So things not as easy as they are on modern day smooth Daytona with all these bumps.
Nope, you can clearly tell that in the speeds because they're running, I mean, this is a high downforce with that, high downforce with that big old fin on the back with that clear plexiglass sticking up. It's high downforce, but this track is bumpy, and it's going to play a toll on these guys. They're going to be mentally exhausted by the end of this, just trying to keep the car up underneath them.
Yeah, that is for sure. You're looking at the front bumper of Chris Darling's number 47 from the back of Hunter Parsons. Parsons slides up there, coming out of turn number 4. It looked like he was going to open the door for the 47, but the 47 backs out of it there just a little bit to try and avoid any potential conflict between those two. And wise decision at this point of the race. Sometimes, I'm not sure if that was the last lap. Chris Darling wouldn't back out of it, but at this point of the race, probably smarter decision to just live to fight another day here.
Yeah, you get down to the last few laps, that won't be as forgiving. Chris will keep it down there, and it'll make that 20 car work for his position back out front.
Yeah, now they blast off into turn number 4, and they are absolutely hauling the mail. Folks, thank you for joining us here on 3 Wide TV. Rich Sobel is in the chat here tonight, looking for Joshua Sobel. Let's see if we can figure out where Josh Sobel is. Is he even out there here tonight? I don't know if Josh Sobel is here tonight in the number 30 machine. Oh, there he is. There he is in the number 30 machine making his appearance. Got Tampa Bay Lightning on the hood of that car. Oh, yeah, we did have a car. Who was that? We just saw I think it was is that the 56, a Monty Glover? I think it was. So we'll go back and see what happened here to the 56 machine. Oh, it happened right up at the front of the field. Monty Glover hard into the outside. Well, that was contact with your race leader, the number 20 machine.
Yeah, it looks like they were trying to get around that 99 lap car, 2-lap car of not Sobel, but Philip Scott, and they just ran out of racing room.
Yeah, you can see the corner at the top of your screen that yeah, they just ran out of racing room. That's heavy contact for the number 56 machine right there. Monty Glover, the SimShots Toyota Camry, and he's going to slide all the way back, and he's actually on pit road right now. So that damage was too much damage. Had to bring it down, so I'm sure he will use his faster pair here, which good thing that they have those faster pairs for when they need to use them, but I'm sure he's not all too excited about having to use it in the first 10 laps.
Nope, because he's going to drop out of that lead pack draft, and it's going to be hard to maintain the lead lap here. Maybe he'll get around and get a lucky dog if we get a quick caution here. But at the moment, it doesn't look like he's going to go a lap down. So he'll be stuck back there unless we get a caution real quick.
Yes, side by side for the race lead, and yeah, you just saw the 56 machine of Monty Glover go down, but we're 3 wide for the race lead. You don't often see this here at Old Daytona, and wow, the 58 machine right there, Cody Nevin almost being split 3 wide in the middle. Now they're still thinking of going 3 wide. That's not something you see at this racetrack. You see some cars there going down below the yellow line. Things really heating up here at the front of the pack here at Daytona.
Yeah, they're all trying to be the popper, and Chris Scott is on the apron, and he's okay. They're going to collect it up. It looks like, there's a lot of give and take right now. Otherwise, Chris would have been already in the wall.
Yeah, that was very, very, very tight between them. I was concerned that Chris Darling's night was going to end right there. As you see, Philip Scott there in the number 99 machine, he is 2 laps down right now in that race car. But trying to get one of his laps back the hard way by going around the outside of the race leader. But that is currently Cody Nevin in that 58 machine. So far, he's led 2 laps here tonight, but Hunter Parsons behind him has led 7 laps here tonight of the first 11 that we have completed. Now working lap number 12, and yep, 3 wide for the race lead. Darling on the high side, the 20 of Parsons in the middle, Nevin on the inside. Darling going to back out of it. We're back to 2 wide, but man, they're racy here. They're racier than I expected them to be, that's for sure.
Especially this early. Nope, Chris, it looks like he's thinking about 3 wide for the lead again. If he had a little bit of help, he could have easily pulled around that number 20 of Hunter Parsons. But looks like he's just going to fall back in line, and hopefully maybe these guys will calm down and try to get a few more laps in.
We're on board with the number 21 machine, Jeffrey Vickery. He's got a front row view of this battle in front of him. You can see him sawing on the wheel as he goes over the bumps. Now he gets things straightened out for the backstretch, trying to give maybe a little bit of a bump to the number 9 machine, but you see the number 9 of Christopher Lawrence having a little bit of a difficult time lining up with the number 58 of Cody Levin, and I know we've talked about that here many times on 3 Wide TV about the snake effect that you start to do when you come down. Oh man, the 21 there just jumping out of turn number 4, almost collecting the side of the number 20 of Parsons there, but very tight racing up here in the front of the pack, and I think we're starting to see a couple of cars further back realize, you know what, maybe now is not the time to be in the lead pack. We have seen Christopher Darling in the number 47 machine. He was racing up there. He's now all the way back to 15th, single file right in front of Josh Sobel.
Yeah, I think he realized that they're a little too racy, so he's going to try to save his race car. He just said, nope, I'm backing out and going to the back and just going to kind of ride around for a few laps, because they're still 2 wide up here for the race lead. You got the 21 kind of grazing the wall and back and forth and trying to follow that number 9 car. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, man, just the way that they're snaking their way through the corners with all these bumps, all it takes is just a little bit too much of a side draft or scraping the wall, getting too high up into the corners. I mean, the margin for error, on this version of Daytona is slim to none. The modern day Daytona, the racetrack, folks, is very, very smooth. You can just kind of put just a little bit of wheel on it, but in this version, especially if you have one of those direct drive wheels, Justin, you're going to feel every single bump in your sim racing wheel and your sim racing rig as we continue to go side by side for the race lead between the 09 of Christopher Lawrence and now the number 20 of Hunter Parsons once again. But these drivers, they're going to get wore out if they got one of those direct drive wheels here tonight.
Their elbows are going to be hurting. It's going to be a full workout. It's absolutely a handful, even with a belt-driven wheel. But a direct drive, I can't even imagine getting around in this track. It'd be tough.
Yeah, definitely getting your workout in if that is the case. Every time you drive off into the corner, cranking the wheel, as you see now Nevin going to go to the outside of Lawrence, trying to get the race lead. I think that's Ben Adams there in the 5 machine, a little bit further back, snaking his way through. He had contact with the outside wall. Now things are starting to sort out. Christopher Darling trying to get up the middle, and we saw the 99 there. Philip Scott, he grazed the wall. He's still 3 wide up there in the high groove. Here comes Andrew Himmelman trying to split up the middle now. To his inside is the number 3. That is James Woodard. one of the Woodards in the race here tonight. Oh, there's contact in front of him. What's going on? Oh, it's up at the front of the field. It was your race leaders making contact. We'll go see what happened here. Coming through the tri-oval, this was the battle for the race lead, and watch the 58 and the 09 machine. Was there contact? Oh, the 20. Oh, that might have been a little bit of net code there between the 20 and the 09, but like I mentioned, a little bit of side drafting there. Margin of error, slim to none.
Especially with netcode. And netcode is a little bit of like a push type of air push type of, if you compare it to real life, it's like you're there and then the car in front of you is turning around, but you can clearly see some real estate between you and the car in front of you. And that looks like what may have happened.
Yeah, I never saw physical contact between those two cars, and definitely a great job by both Lawrence and Nevin there to get their cars going straight. I mean, that is some premier rallycross driving if I've ever seen it, but luckily able to stay green flag there. They are. Nevin down in 18th right now. Christopher Lawrence a couple of cars back in 21st. In fact, the last car on the lead lap as of right now. But meanwhile, back up at the front of the field, the battle is still raging on for who's going to lead the race here tonight. 37 laps to go this time by. In fact, we're rapidly closing in on the halfway mark. If you're just now joining us, green flag so far in tonight's race here on 3Y TV, the National Sim Racing Association Taz Racing Customs Superspeedway Series. And Jeffrey Vickery in that number 21 machine, you see him right there, is currently leading the way.
As I said at the top of the show, the three cars that we were going to look for getting together was the 47, the 23, and the 5. And ladies and gentlemen, they are within nose to tail of each other, and Chris Darling is leading that line of cars.
Yeah,
he wants the lead. He is pushing.
Which is interesting because we saw him slide all the way back to about the 15th position. What was that? Maybe 5 laps ago? I mean, these positions here at Daytona change so quickly. And yeah, you see Darling, Evans, Sobel there. And how about Evan Gilbert there in that number 28 machine, starting to make some noise in the outside groove. He might have a little bit of damage on that number 28 machine, but so far able to get himself up towards the front of the field. Speaking of the front of the field, Brett Wilson just got to the race lead in the number 10 machine, led his first lap of the race so far as we close in on the halfway mark here tonight.
Yep, we're almost at halfway, and Chris is pushing Mr. Evan Gilbert right there, pushing him hard to the lead in the outside lane. So those guys, they might take the lead right here. That right there is a good enough momentum. It might push them to the lead here, maybe, but that inside line's starting to reform again. So it doesn't look like they're going to have the momentum to get to the lead. So we're going back to Brett Wilson. Looks like Brett Wilson's going to lead this lap.
Yeah, how things ebb and flow here at Daytona. With the number 30, this is Joshua Sobel looking out back at the number 5 of Ben Adams right in front of him. And there's Shane Ledoux in that number 12, right there on the inside line, working his way through turn number 1 and 2. You still feel all of those bumps if you're one of these race car drivers, and it is a lot of fun. I'm sure all these drivers, I know they probably don't have many nerves left because this has been a really stressful first 20 laps or so, but I'm sure they're having a lot of fun out there nonetheless.
Oh yeah, this track is definitely a lot of fun to drive. Like I said, you can see his hands on the wheel. He's kind of seesawing there back and forth. That's not him actually turning the wheel. That is the track taking the car where the track wants it to be.
New race leader Evan Gilbert in the number 28 machine used that high line with a little bit of help from Chris Darling in the 47. Now he's out front here at Daytona. And now that Darling's leading that high line, you would probably only think that it's a matter of time there, Justin, for Darling to be able to get that lead with how well that 47 has gone from the front to the back to the front. And in fact, as I say that, he's actually cleared the number 28 machine of Gilbert. Is he going to stick with that high line? I mentioned earlier that high line here on this particular version of Daytona, in my opinion, usually it's a faster line as we got a bunch of cars coming down pit road led by the number 10 machine of Gilbert, the 10 of Wilson and the 28 of Gilbert. But it looks like everyone getting onto pit road nice and smoothly.
Yeah, that was really surprising. I figured there'd be a few to snap it around, but I guess these guys got a little more practice in than I thought trying to get on pit road.
Well, speaking about that, the 42 machine just had a little bit of a hiccup. That's the 42 right there of Evan Burke. We'll see exactly what went down with Evan Burke trying to come down into his pit box. Got the 58 right behind him. And, well, let's see, 42. Oh, he just tried to slow down, got on the brakes, and slam bam into the wall there. I'm wondering if he just kind of lost that spatial awareness of when to come down pit road. But speaking of coming down pit road, here comes the rest of the field. Chris Darling leading another group down. Ben Adams there in the 5 machine back behind him. There's Joshua Sobel, the Tampa Bay Lightning number 30 Chevrolet. So right now pitting with, around lap number 22 here tonight is, ooh, the 30th Sobel slides through his pit box. Big question was, did the 47 machine slide through his pit box? Let's go back, folks, and let's see whether the 47 machine slid through his pit box, because this is the running theme here on 3Y TV, and looks like the 47 was okay.
He hit it right on the nail.
Well, Chris, if we had the kazoo, we would give you the kazoo, but unfortunately it's in the 3Y TV vault here tonight. We'll try and bring it out for tomorrow night's SIMBOX Truck Series race right here on 3Y TV, where we go to Auto Club in the race for the SIMBOX crown. And you see Chris Darling, Josh Sobel working their way out to the racetrack. Here comes Hunter Parsons and Brett Wilson. Both of those cars now trying to go around them, and it looks like they will. So the 20 and the 10 back up to the front, the 47 and the 30 back behind them. Then Ben Mashburn, Colin Hillary in 5th and 6th. But really, the field getting pretty spread out here under this round of pit stops. I think there's some different strategies on pit road there, Justin.
Yeah, it looks like that front group of cars tried to pit early to get a good run like they just did around Darling in the 5. And it looks like when they pitted, they are now taking off. Well, no, that's a mixture of cars, isn't it? So
I think the big question will be, can some of these packs run down other people? I mean, we got the front 4. There they are. We'll kind of get a look at your front 4. They should be coming by very, very quickly. There's the front 4. And then here is the next 4. And then you have to wait. And you have to wait. And you have to wait for the next group. So there's the second group of 4. And then finally you can see the next group of 2. That's Ryan Dupree and Garrett Gleason. And then you have to wait for this next group. So this round of pit stops has very much split up the field. I'm looking to see if there was any obvious pit road speeding penalties or anything like that, but I'm not really seeing anything. Some drivers obviously elected to take 4 tires. Jeffrey Vickery in the number 21 machine, speeding penalty. Evan Dupree, speeding penalty. Andrew Himmelman, speeding penalty. And we have a caution flag waving here at Daytona. We'll see what if we can figure out what this caution. Oh my goodness, we got one car upside down here at Daytona, and it all kicked off. Let's see what happened here. So let's go on board with Shane Ledoux. He got into the outside wall, but it all kicked off in front of him. Let's watch this going off into turn number 1. The 4 of Himmelman, and I think that is the 58 of Nevin, and holy cow, the 12 machine went tumbling across the racetrack. It could be day done for Shane Ledoux's number 12 machine.
Yeah, I think he's going to have to report to the infield care center for that one. He tumbled quite a few times right there. Looks like Himmelman just got up underneath him with a good run, and that's all it took. Yep, looks like he got a good run up underneath him, and then he just got turned around, and then they just started collecting each other thereafter.
And James Woodard in the number 3 machine involved in that one as well. I think this is a good opportunity for us to bring out our old friend, Mr. Gyro Cam. There's the initial contact, and this isn't going to be pretty, folks. 1, that'd be 2, that's 3, and, well, kind of 3, and then another 1.5 backwards. That's a real tough break for the number 12 machine of Shane Ledoux here tonight. He will be on pit road. Meanwhile, we do have some split strategies out here on the racetrack. Hunter Parsons in the number 20 has elected to stay out. Meanwhile, pretty much the rest of the field is actually coming down pit road right now to come get, I would think, tires. A lot of these drivers probably didn't take tires in their first pit stop, and now that we're under caution, they'll probably take tires because you and I know with this racetrack being so bumpy, tires actually mean something at this version of Daytona.
They do mean something. They mean a lot, actually. So, especially on this bumpy track, I mean, lower you keep that car to the ground with that lower tire pressure, the faster you will be.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if we can figure out what exactly happened to one of the other competitors, see if he was involved in that accident. No, I'm not. I'm trying to figure out what happened to Mike Floppy Tellier in the number 97 machine. This was actually a while ago. So this actually might have been what broke up the field here, because watch all of these cars. They're hustling their way down the backstretch, and there was contact between the 18 and the 97, and this was just after that first round of pit stop, and that was heavy contact between both of those cars. So luckily for Kyle Lewis in the 18 and the 97 and Mike Floppy Tellier, they're able to use this caution to use their fast repair, but that is not actually what brought out the caution. That we stayed green after that collision there on the backstretch just a little while ago, as we will be halfway home this time by, Justin.
Yeah, those guys were just looking like they were fighting for the same real estate coming off pit road, and with this track being as bumpy as it is, it's going to tell your car where you want it to go, and it just looks like those two just got together. And of course, I heard a few words over the iRacing chat that they were not happy with each other, but it's just one of those racing incidents.
So we are now officially halfway in tonight's Taz Racing Customs Superspeedway Series event, with Hunter Parsons leading the race. He's so far led 12 of the first 28 laps that are in the book, so far well on his way to picking up the most laps led. Evan Burke to his outside, so far the biggest mover of the race in that 42 machine. Had that issue on pit road not all too long ago when he got rear-ended going into his pit box, but he has used a fast repair, and he's now running second. Chris Darling, Josh Sobel, and Ben Mashburn rounding out your top five. Looks like 62, Colin Ullery will be the third car on the outside line. And back behind them, having a little bit of difficulty getting things lined up, but I think it'll be Ben Mashburn, Brett Wilson, Ryan Dupree, and Drew Eisenman, I think, rounding out your top 10 here with 27 laps to go. And Justin, as always here on 3Y TV, as the laps wind down, action heats up, but I don't know how much more the action can heat up, because it has been really red hot up at the front of the field all night long.
Yeah, I'm looking for these guys to get a little bit more crazy. There's a few of these guys up here with a little bit of an itch in their seat or their foot, wanting to get to the front and stay up front. So I'm thinking there's going to be a lot more moves at the end of this race, and we're going to see a few more cautions come out. They typically don't have to pit again, but I think we're going to see them wadded up here for a big one, as they call it, here in a few minutes. I can just feel it coming.
Yeah, we have they're still out there on the racetrack. In fact, by my count, 24 cars still out there tonight. Pace car heads down pit road. Green flag back in the air here at Daytona, and the 20 of Hunter Parsons leads us back to green. Look at Chris Darling in the number 47 trying to move his way up into second here very quickly, trying to close in. And I'm just wondering if that 20 got out to too big of a lead here, as Darling is now all over his back bumper. Remember, Darling and Mashburn, those are two drivers who work relatively well with one another. Can they line up to get past the 20? But now the outside line starting to get formed up, with that 42 getting a big push from the 62 of Ullery.
That was a huge push. So that 42 is going to, looks like he's going to take the lead with that push, unless the momentum slows down here in the corner. He's trying to pull a little bit of side draft. He is definitely not going to clear him here on this corner, it looks like. They're going to have to get on here on the front straightaway with Cullen pushing up. Oh, now he's definitely cleared him, and he's going to pull down right in front of that 20 car.
So the 42 of Evan Burke up to the lead here at Daytona. The 62 Colin Ullery now going to be leading that high line, with a little bit of help from the number 10 of Wilson as they dive off into turn number 1. What can that outside line do? I think if they can get enough cars out there, just 3 or 4 cars, we can definitely contend with that front group, but it's so easy to just slot down in front of the cars down low. That seems to be the preferred choice. But here comes the 62, excuse me, trying to do exactly what the 42 did one lap ago with only one car lined up behind him. I'll tell you what, Justin, I don't think we're seeing that high line utilized enough here tonight at Daytona.
No, they're going to have to get more than 2 cars up there on the high line to be pushing each other to make the high line actually work. That 27 car, I believe, is the number I'm looking at. He's going to have to get a little bit closer to that high line to get him enough momentum to get that high line moving, or the downhurt line moving a little bit faster.
So we will wait and see. And of course, with some of these cars using their sets of tires on pit road to get a little bit extra grip here for the last half of the race, I don't blame them. We'll see if that comes into effect with some of these leaders electing to stay out.
The wall. The 5 was in the wall. Looks like they tried to make it 3 wide, and the 5 just got the low end of that. And the 42 and the 20 are turning each other. And the 20 looks like he collided side with the 47 there a little bit too.
Well, looks like the 20 is able to get away scot-free. We'll go back and catch this one on the replay. Something must have also happened to the number 28 machine as well. We'll try and keep an eye on that one. But coming out of the corner just a little bit, possibly a little bit of neck code, and the 42 making some pretty heavy contact. We know that Evan Burke's already used a fast repair here tonight. We'll see if we can get one more look out of the rear end of this race car. There's the number 28 machine. We'll see if we can figure out what exactly happened to him. But watch this coming out of the corner. Yep, just a little nudge. There was definite contact, and that's not the direction you want to be facing here at Daytona. The rear end going forward is never a good thing. And it looks like it might be day done for the number 42 machine.
Yeah, he stayed on that last caution, so it looks like the tires did play a role because it made it look like he got a little bit snug right there coming out the corner. And all you do is leave a little bit of daylight open underneath you, and that car behind you is going to take advantage of that, especially as we count these laps down quickly.
Look at this rebound from Mike Floppy Tellier. He's back up in the top 5 after having that contact that we saw there probably about 10-15 laps ago after he came off pit road. So that 97 trying to make some noise with the number 23 right behind him, that being Ben Mashburn. But the 09, Christopher Lawrence, he's been up there near the front for a good majority of the race besides his trip into the grass. So we're seeing a couple of drivers have some good rebounds, but up the front it's Colin Ullery, winner of 2 races so far this season, trying to pick up win number 3 here on 3Wide TV tonight.
Yep, and look now, Chris Darling looks like he's going to challenge him for the lead, and that outside line has a huge run. Oh, and the 62. Oh, and here comes the big one.
And the 47. Oh, man, we still got cars piling in. And we still got cars piling in. Wow, that happened right up at the front of the field. There was definite contact. We'll slow this down. There was contact between, that might have been netcode between the 62 and the 47, but if it wasn't, that was a little bit of side drafting gone wrong. The 10 gets involved. Look at the 27 machine getting involved. Mike Floppy Tellier getting involved. Looks like Garrett Gleason got a good chunk of it. The 5 there, the 5 going up and over. That's Ben Adams. But a bunch of these cars ending up junked here on the backstretch. Wow. My. We'll go back.
It looked like the 5 was trying to qualify for the Summer Olympics.
Yeah, that's what it looked like. We'll get a look at this, and that was not good. And just look at the carnage here. Look at all these cars piling in. Just, boy, oh boy. There you said, like you said, the 5 trying to be a gymnast. That is not what you want to see.
I see the judges giving him a 7.5 on that landing.
Well, I think for the second time here tonight, we're going to have to bring out that gyro cam, you know? Here he is. Here's contact with the 97. He gets thrown back up across the racetrack and going up and over, getting some good airtime in that number 5 machine. Unfortunately, looks like the engine's smoking, but landed on all 4, so that's good things all considered.
Looks like he tried a triple somersault, and it just couldn't get it performed correctly. I'd give him a 7.5 on the landing.
So that is a tough break, and looks like some of these drivers out of fast repairs, including the number 5 machine of Ben Adams, the 97 of Mike Tellier. They're both appear to be day done for both of them, which is a tough break here, but we do have some takers on pit road. Colin Ullery coming down pit road. We have some drivers electing to stay out, which is going to be interesting to see how
Cody Nevin stayed out, and he's got 10 laps on his tires. We'll see if he picks up that little push on that corner exit and see if it makes a difference.
A couple of cars a little bit further back in the pack with multitudes of damage. You see that big gap between some of the leaders. They're now pulling out of their pit boxes. This second group of cars finally making it into their pit box. I think that's some of these drivers having smoking engines, just unable to get back to pit road in time. We'll keep an eye on Christopher Darling here. Let's see if he can hit his marks here once again. This could be the money stop, and it seems like always the money stop that he misses. So, he made it into his pit box. Second time tonight. Wow.
And he's got that fast repair, so now he is officially out. You can see that car instantly snap back to brand new. So he is now out of fast repair, so he kept that thing in his back pocket as long as possible. Let's see if it pays off.
Yeah, and I know Drew Eisenman in that number 7, he has been keeping it nice and clean here tonight. Let's see if we can bring him down here into the booth. Drew Eisenman, Peter Short, 3Y TV booth. You get a copy?
Yeah, I got you, Pete.
Well, I'll tell you what, Drew, it seems like here tonight you're just pacing yourself, and I think you're pacing yourself for a reason. We just had what was probably big one number 2 here tonight, but looks like you've been able to keep that number 77 nice and clean, and as well as the fact that you still got that fast repair in hand.
Yeah, I haven't made the mistake of not unchecking my fast repair every pit stop. That's pretty good. But yeah, it's just really hard to drive, and when these guys get racing side by side like that, you just know a wreck's inevitable. So just trying to get this thing kind of close to the end before we get up there and fight, guys, because you just got a few drivers that are pretty aggressive, and you just kind of read the field and then kind of position your car where you think you might be able to make it to the end.
So, Drew, other thing that I have to remind you, the last time you and I were in a race here at Legacy Daytona, we finished, I think, 1, 2, 3, and we used the high line to do it. So we're not giving away any secrets, but Drew, the high line might be the line to use here tonight. So we'll, hopefully that helps you out, and you can get up to the front. Best of luck, bud.
All right, thank you.
All right, well, that is Drew Eisenman running currently inside the top 10 in the 7th position. We'll let him get back to it as we work our way around the pace car here under caution flag. 18 laps to go. It'll be 17 laps when we go back green here. Justin, here on 3Y TV.
Yep. Let's, I know we're getting ready to go green here, but I'm going to ask Colin here a quick question. Hey, Colin, in 3Y TV booth, you got us?
Yeah, I got you, man.
What's your plan for the end here, buddy, real quick?
I don't know. It's just survive right now.
Yeah, hopefully you'll get there. It looks like you've been leading this pack pretty well, so good luck there. Just wanted to see what you were thinking.
Yes, thank you.
All right, well, we'll let Tim get back to it as well here. And I'll tell you what, Justin, 17 laps to go. I think it's just about anyone's race. If you're left in the field with an undamaged race car, anything can happen here at Daytona that can get you to the front. I know we've seen races where the car 7th, 8th place on the last lap gets to the front. On the final lap, we might have to wait for the final lap to determine, but the green flag is going to wave once again, and I meant to say determine the winner, as we are back underway here at the World Center of Racing with the number 58. Cody Nevin, he stayed out. And I'll tell you what, I'm not sure if that's a good idea or not there, Justin.
No, he's probably going to pick up that push off the corner exit, and we're going to see how that plays in effect. You won't see it here on well, I call the fast lap, where they try to get back up to speed, but you'll start to see it here as the laps wind down. That car will pick up a little bit of push, and then right now I think it's starting to play a factor. That high line is starting to come in right here. It looks like the 23 and the 62 have pushed each other to the front, and let's see if they can hold it.
For right now, the 62 of Colin Ullery is your race leader. The number 23 machine, Ben Mashburn, right behind him. But this is a big gaggle of cars. You see the Cody Nevin there on those older tires, flirting with that yellow line through the tri-oval. That is one of the bumpiest parts of the entire racetrack, right there in the middle of the tri-oval. And you can kind of see how that car jumped up about half a lane. That's one spot you really don't want to side draft unless it is coming to the white flag.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to be side drafted here on this bumpy Daytona, especially with a little bit of netcode mixed in. You'll find yourself out of fast repairs and sitting back there 4, 5, 30 laps down, wishing you had not pulled that side draft.
20 machine Hunter Parsons right now trying to get back up to the race lead in his car. He's led 13 laps, make that 14 here as we have 15 more laps to go around this 2.5 mile racetrack. Still lots of racing here, and I'm sure these drivers are just hoping to see the checkered flag here, trying to fight all of these bumps here. I'm sure it's going to wear out both mental and physical capacities of these drivers. Just whoa, that's Josh Sobel there in the 30 having a little bit of connection issues. That's not what you want to see up at the front of the field. And Justin, there's been a lot of iRacing issues over the last week or so as the 30 going to drop to the inside, gets a little bit of help from the number 10 of Wilson. But there's been a lot of issues with iRacing and connectivity as we almost went 3 wide there for second as Drew Eisenman trying to give the number 20 of Parsons a bump. But we're actually racing on the West server, the West server farm that iRacing puts together, with the East server farm having lots of connection issues over the last couple of nights.
Yeah, especially for Comcast users, I think Josh doesn't want to try to play the invisible man right now, especially on a super speedway, because you'll find yourself trapped inside of another car really quick.
Yeah, that is for sure. Luckily, it looks like that connection hiccup was just a hiccup, and things continue to be nice and smooth. Meanwhile, up at the front with 77 now, Drew Eisenman trying to push that number 20 using that high groove. I gave him that little tidbit that high groove is just a little bit easier to run here at Daytona, a little bit easier to push the car in front, and looks like Parsons going to lead yet another lap here. But things continuing to ebb and flow here around the 2.5 mile racetrack. Folks, if you're in the chat, want to hear you in the chat, say something. Allman Leader rooting on the number 28 of Evan Gilbert. Paul Schubert says, go outside number 62. Well, for right now, the 62 of Ullery stuck down in the inside groove. Bearded Kilt Racing saying, who are you? I'll try. Not sure if Bearded Kilt is in the race here tonight, but if he is, great job typing and writing and racing at all at the same time. But we welcome you to 3 Wide TV. Hopefully you enjoy a little bit of the broadcast as we have 12 laps to go. And man, watching these cars go over those bumps lap after lap at 195 miles an hour, it really, I think it even wears me out as the commentator.
Yeah, it's wearing me out. I'm in a little bit of a dead sway here watching these cars. But as you can see, the 77, we haven't talked too much about him tonight. I know we brought him down here to the booth, but he is trying. He's actually here towards the front, and he is looking for the lead. So he's placed himself in here. Well, we got a little bit of netcode issue between the leaders there. It looks like he's going to pull back on track, not cause any more issues. But the 77, and now the 77 is going for the lead. He's placed himself in a good position here at the very end of the race. So it looks like he is going to try to win this race, which is what all drivers want to do. But he's going to need a good pushing partner to do it.
Yeah, Drew Eisenman drops down to the inside. Meanwhile, the 58 of Nevin and the 20, they're locked up together just like they were in the first 15 to 20 laps of the race. But for right now, Hunter Parsons will lead yet another lap. Drew Eisenman now leading that inside train of cars. Got the 09 right behind him. Christopher Lawrence has shown himself to be a strong pusher here tonight with Brett Wilson right behind them in the number 10 machine. Who is that slicing their way to the high side a little bit further back? I'm not 100% sure. Was that the number 38? I think it was. Yes, it was right there. Evan Dupree in that car. Meanwhile, back up at the front of the field. Oh, that inside line broke up. Christopher Lawrence, did he have an issue there going through turn number 3 and 4?
Yep, looks like the 58 of Cody Nevin, looks like he came down and touched him, and that is what caused the inside line to break up really quick.
Yeah, we'll catch this one here on the slow-mo replay. There's the contact, and the 09 got number 9 on that car. Stellar job. I mean, that is one heck of a job saving that race car. That is not easy to do, folks. but the field are going to have to reform, and they have already. Drew Eisenman now getting a push from the number 27. That's Ryan Dupree in that car. We saw that 27 machine involved in a pretty heavy accident not all too long ago. Now up there inside the top 5. Here comes Nevin, though. Nevin going to drop to the inside right in front of Drew Eisenman. And here comes Jeffrey Vickery in the 21 machine. He was involved in a scuffle earlier in the race. Things really heating up at the front. 9 laps to go. Oh, contact! The 09 and the 27, and they're on from there. There's a 27. What happened to the 09 machine? Heavy contact with the inside wall. We stay green.
Well, stay green. They're off the racing surface, so it looks like it was just one of those other racing incidents, and they're up here blocking each other now for the lead, so this is going to get interesting.
Yeah, you see that contact, and unfortunately for the 09 machine, that's their end result. Heavy contact with the inside wall. It looks like his night will be over. Meanwhile, back at the front, you were mentioning it. The 58, the 77. I think the 58 is going to try and do what Dale Earnhardt Jr. used to do at Daytona. Just try and play the lines, go down to the inside groove as it gets a run. Now jump up to the top side as the top side gets a run, but he can't do that right now because the 20 of Hunter Parsons is drawn level with him as they go off into turn number 1.
And we are at how many laps to go? We got 8 laps to go. They are 2 wide, 3 rows back, fighting for the race lead, and it looks like everybody's trying to pull down to the inside line because the outside line does not have a whole lot of help, but it looks like those 3 cars up top are going to work together and push each other to the front, and we're going to see how well that works.
They go off into turn number 3. That number 20 is going to stay up there on the high side. I was expecting him to drop down to the inside groove, but Hunter Parsons is going to stick it out up there. Drew Eisenman still holding to the back bumper of Cody Nevin, but the 20 of Hunter Parsons is going to lead another lap using that high line. He's been so strong on that high line all night long to lead yet another lap. He's led 19, and he's actually just clinched the most laps led here at Daytona. Cody Nevin, the only other driver to be in the double digits in the laps led column here tonight as they work their way onto the backstretch with now just 7 more laps to go. This is going to be a wild finish. Look at Evan Dupree in that number 38 machine. He might be making some noise. He's just ducking out from behind the number 20 machine as they snake down the backstretch.
It looks like he was trying to get a little bit of air on the nose, but it could be the track just taking him where he going. Here's that 20 trying to block the inside lane, but it looks like the 58 is going to have a run with being pushed by Drew Eisenman, and Drew's on the apron and almost loses it. He's going to have to slow it down to get back into the racing surface.
Yeah, and there was some contact as well with the number 21 machine as well when that happened, because the 38 really came down the racetrack and kind of forced Drew down below that yellow line. Good heads-up driving out of that number 77 machine to not ending up wadded up. Speaking of getting wadded up, the 21 machine, that was the 10 as well. There's the number 10 inside wall. That's Brett Wilson. It looks like it could be day done for him because we stay green flag. Can you believe it, folks? Coming to 5 laps to go.
Yeah, that car I'm watching back there that's avoiding all these wrecks and was leading up there towards the front of the pack for most of this race is that number 47 car. He's back there like Josh, just waiting for his time to take off to the front, and it may be time to go.
5 laps to go. The front 2 got out to a very big lead over the next group of cars, and look at them. They're chasing him down. That's Colin Ullery in that number 62 leading that charge. There he is, got Ben Mashburn right behind him as they work their way off into the corner. There's the slow car, the number 3. That, of course, is one of the Woodards here tonight. That is James Woodard being scored 2 laps down. I'm wondering if something actually happened to that number 3 machine that we missed off camera, because he's 2 laps down and has a whole bunch of damage. Not sure if you want to go investigate that, Justin, as we have some more cars working their way back up onto the racetrack. There is one of the other Woodards, that I think is Woody Woodard, coming out onto the racetrack right there. And I think I wanted to say there was one other car coming back out onto the racetrack in front of them. But either way, we are now side by side for the race lead. 4 laps to go, 10 miles at Daytona.
No, he's in second. I'm watching Peter's.
And we just had someone jump up in here. Not sure who that was, but we're side by side for the race lead with 4 laps to go. Make that 3 laps to go as we head to the start-finish line this time.
Yeah, but it's definitely going to get racy here. I have a feeling we're going to have a caution or two, maybe, unless these guys keep it off the, like caution off the racing surface. But I'm still watching that number 23 and that number 47. They are in that inside line and they are pushing that 62 hard. And we're going to see if that inside line is going to have the momentum to keep the momentum to keep the lead, and we're going to find out.
We are going to find out. Could we end up with more wadded up cars? We might very well, as they again start to get a little bit snaky down the backstretch. Here we go, coming off into turn number 3. It'll be 2 laps to go this time by. There was one car a little bit further back, not sure who that was, having some issues getting up there on the racing surface. I think they tried to stay down. Now we're on board here with Drew Eisenman. Coming to 2 more laps to go. Eisenman starting to make some noise once again, back up towards the front. He's got a huge run, catching up to the back of the 38.
Yeah, that was a huge run, which gave that 38 a huge push out to the 20, and that's going to put the 20 out in front of the 62. Is he going to pull it down in front? No, he stays up high. So it looks like he's going to remain up there with his drafting partner, the 38, to hopefully keep that momentum on that high line.
Yeah, and oh man, was that the 62 getting a nudge from the 23? Might have shot him out of the groove just a little bit. Maybe it was the bumps, not sure. It'll be white flag this time. All bets will be off. Pull those belts tight one last time. Get up on the wheel because it will be white flag here at Daytona. 2.5 miles to go here in the World Center of Racing. Colin Ullery going to lead us to the white flag.
Colin going to lead us to the white flag with that 23 pushing, but that 38 is pushing that 20 hard, trying to get that high line working again. The 20 pulls out to a nose over the 62. And it looks like the inside line is going to get that run because of the shorter distance around the track, but then the high line pulls back with a 38, giving that 20 a huge push.
Is Drew Eisenman going to stay with the top 2? Is he going to try and make his own move? He has Joshua Sobel right behind him. The 38 might be thinking of going to the middle. No, he doesn't. He stays in line. We are going to be side by side coming to the stripe. It's going to be a drag race here at Daytona, Justin.
Huge drag. The 23 gives the 62 a huge push. No, they're not going 3 wide. Those 3 cars behind them are nose to tail. The 23 is right by the 47. It looks like the 20 is going to win the race, with the 62 and the 38 having a little bit of contact at the start-finish line.
Hunter Parsons and the number 20 machine able to get that last-minute push to get to the checkers. Let's watch this run to the finish one more time. Watch the bright red number 23 machine, Ben Mashburn, getting hooked down into the inside grass. There was contact there with the number 38 machine, who's going to fall back. He's going to finish on the podium, though. Colin Ullery coming up just 1 position short of winning his 3rd race of the season. Wow, what a finish here at Daytona, and great to see a good majority of the race run under green flag conditions.
Yeah, that was really surprising considering how bumpy this track is, how these guys maintained it and kept it on the, wrecking off the racing surface or keeping it straight and giving each other room, because they realize this track is not something easy to drive.
You go on board with Ben Mashburn as he slid to a halt there through the grass, going across the start-finish line backwards in that race car, and going to come home with a 7th place finish, which isn't bad all things considered. But wow, what a fantastic run it was to the line. We'll see what happened right here. You see him go down, and then the 38 machine and the 62 making contact, and then coming across the nose of the 47. Ouch. That's some pretty significant contact with the inside wall, but the checkered flag had already waved. But wow, what a race here tonight, Justin.
That was a great race there towards the end, and Mr. Darling, the number 47, come up a little bit short from a podium. Looks like he'll finish P5. Drew Eisenman will finish P4. That's your top 5. That was actually a pretty decent, good race there towards the end. Good little drag race off 4.
Yeah, that is for sure. We'll see if we can get the number 20 doing any type of celebrations after the race. This was the post race, and we'll just make sure he's able to get his celebrations, if any, on to the podcast. Definitely always something I love to do. A nice little burnout for all the fans watching back at home, because you got to celebrate, don't you, when you win one of these races. It's not every day you win a super speedway race, that's for sure. There, of course, a little bit of a lottery when it comes to certain things, you know, whether you're involved in an accident or something like that. But winning a Superspeedway race is always a great feeling, in my opinion.
Yeah, especially in a league race. These league races are not something easy to come by every day of the week, and hopefully Hunter will enjoy and savor this victory here for a little while, because it's definitely hard to come by, but it's enjoyable when you do it.
Yeah, that is for sure. He does a little donut there in the infield, goes up to the wall, lights up the rear tires, and that's a pretty common thing that we see here at Daytona, just to get that nose right up there against that wall and give the fans some smoke up there into the crowd. Great job for Hunter Parsons here tonight, leading 25 laps here around Daytona, leading the most laps by far. And like I mentioned to everyone in the chat, the high line was the strong line right there at the end of the race. Well, let's see if we can get some of those post-race interviews for you guys lined up. And in fact, why don't we just jump straight into them? Let's see if we can get our third place finisher, the number 38 machine of Evan Dupree, up here into the booth. Evan, this is Peter Short up here in the 3Y TV booth. You got a copy?
Yes, I do.
Well, I'll tell you what, that number 38 machine here tonight, you were a bit quiet in the first portion of the race, but I think that was probably by design, able to squeak out a podium finish here tonight. Tell us about those closing laps.
Yeah, the beginning of the race, I kind of just sat back, tried to save my fast repair and stay clean, and then we got a little jumbled towards the end there, so I just went up and pushed my friend Hunter Parsons to the win.
Yeah, definitely was a really strong run for you guys right there at the closing laps. We saw a disparity between the low line and the high line here tonight. What was your thoughts about that high line? Was that the line that you were pretty sure was going to be the line to be in?
Yeah, it seemed like the faster line, and it just seemed a little less rough, bottoming out a little less. We seemed like we could keep together a little more and keep our momentum on the top side. So from the beginning in practice, we kind of said the top side would be the way to win this race.
Well, that it was for sure. What a run for you here tonight. What are your thoughts about these Super Speedway races, and especially this one here at Old Daytona with all the bumps?
This was actually my first race at the old Daytona. I would prefer new Daytona, but once you get used to it, it's not bad. But I love the super speedway racing, the close pack racing, and you know you're on edge for the entire race.
Yeah, that is absolutely sure, and you know always good to get a strong finish here on the super speedway races. Before we let you go, Evan, you got any shout outs?
Just a shout out to Hunter Parsons, our winner.
All right, well, folks, third place finisher here tonight, Evan Dupree, having a really good night, all things considered, coming home in third place. Thanks for stopping by. All right, let's see if we can pick up our second place finisher, that, of course, being the number 62 machine of Colin O'Leary, and I think, Justin, you've caught up with him?
Yeah, Colin, this is Justin here in the booth. You got me?
Yeah, I got you, man.
Hey, good little run there, finishing P2. What there towards the end, there was a lot of bumping I could see trying to get that run on the high line, and you were just sticking to the low line. What was your idea there, sticking on the low side?
I was just sticking with Ben Mashburn through all that, and I don't think I had really a gap to go up to the top side, or else I would have, because it definitely was the faster line throughout the night. You got such good runs off the turns.
Was it just smoother up there, allowing the car to get a little bit more speed and not moving all over the track?
It definitely was smoother, but it's definitely smoother. You just had to worry about someone not going too far down and hitting a bump and then going into someone was the main worry of the night, really.
All right, well, 10-4. Congratulations on your P2 finish there. You got any shout outs for anybody?
Yeah, you guys putting on the broadcast and everyone putting on in this league. The drivers, it was a great race. I had a lot of fun. It was definitely an experience to try and drive the old Daytona. It's been a long time since I've drove it. So it was a lot of fun to do it.
It definitely is a handful. Well, appreciate you joining us here in the booth, and we're going to catch up with our first place winner there, Hunter Parsons. So nice talking to you.
Nice talking to you, man.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what. It is time to line up that winning interview with none other than Hunter Parsons. And Hunter, Peter Short, 3-Wide TV booth. You got a copy?
Yep.
Well, I'll tell you what. You were the class of the field here tonight, leading 25 laps, more than anyone else by a good number, 15 laps to be exact. Tell us about your race and all the bumps. Tell us about all those bumps. I'm really curious to know how that number 20 handled those bumps here tonight.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you. My arms were a little sore from that, running some pretty high force feedback. But overall, it was pretty fun. I haven't ever really ran the Legacy Daytona. Even when I did have it, back before they made it a free version, I never ran it really. So it was pretty interesting. I'm into a lot of the Superspeedway leagues, so going back to an old Legacy track and kind of comparing how that is to the current day tracks, it's a lot different for sure. But overall, the car is pretty good, and I knew I was going to be fine. Just had to stay in front of the crazy mess behind me.
Yeah, and speak about that crazy mess, because, of course, you didn't lead every single lap. You were a little bit further back for a while. How sketchy is it running back around other race cars? I mean, we saw a lot of really tight, tough racing right at the front of the field for at least in the first 25 laps, and that carried on throughout the remainder of the race.
Yeah, I think some people were just in more of a hurry to get somewhere and get going. They really wanted to get to the bottom of the racetrack where I thought it was more rough. So it's kind of shooting them back up the racetrack. And I knew I could hold it on the bottom. So if they were going to shoot up, that was going to be my chance to try and break away free if something were to happen. But I knew it was going to ultimately come down to pit stops. And luckily I had one good pit stop, and that kind of set me back up in front when the whole field did bunch back up together. But overall, just wanted to get back up to the top where it was a lot smoother and just kind of stay there. And I hope I could get a push to the finish there.
Yeah, well, definitely very, very, very strong run for you here tonight, taking home the win. It's a Super Speedway series, so we kind of alternate between Daytona, Talladega. We've tried to go to Michigan. We go to iRacing Super Speedway. What's your favorite Super Speedway in the iRacing service?
I like the racing at Talladega, but however, I do like the iRacing Super Speedway a little bit better, just because of how much it relies on you running that bottom. And some people they kind of struggle at running the bottom and holding it still, so they shoot up the racetrack, and that's kind of your chance to get them. So I would have to go with iRacing Super Speedway.
All right. Well, we'll hope to see you again here in the National Sim Racing Association Taz Racing Customs Super Speedway Series. And Justin, you got any questions for tonight's race winner?
Yeah, my biggest question is, what is your plan for iRacing Super Speedway? Is it going to be similar to what you did tonight? Get up front, stay up front?
Yeah, after practice, kind of see where times are sitting at, and if I'm feeling pretty comfortable and confident in myself, I'll qualify up front and try and control the field and stay up front and stay out of the mess. If I'm kind of in the middle of the pack for practice, I'll probably just hang back and kind of let everything work itself out. As we see tonight, it kind of happened itself and got kind of wild. So you got to be in it to win it. So I'd rather hang back and be clean and smart than full on out and putting myself at risk.
That's a good philosophy to have. So good win there, good race. Go get you a little bit of rest, because you're definitely going to need it for next week.
Yeah, thank you.
Before we let you go, Hunter, any shout outs that you like to give here on the channel?
Yeah, first off, Evan Dupree for giving me a solid push there at the end. That's one of my buddies, and felt good to see him finish up front there with me. And Cody Neven for running up front too. He led the second most laps. He's new to the whole asphalt and everything. And everyone in the 101 Discord, FTP, Dirty Grass Soul, iRacing iFlag, and just everyone who supports it.
All right. Well, congratulations on taking home the win here at Daytona, the World Center of Racing. And we hope to see you again here on 3-Wide TV. Best of luck.
Thank you.
All right. Well, Justin, I think there's only one more thing that we need to do here on the channel here tonight, and that is go through tonight's final finishing results. And taking home the win here tonight, Hunter Parsons. We just had a chat with him. Colin Ullery, just one spot short of picking up his third win of the season. Wow, that would be quite the story, especially here on a super speedway. In fact, as you can see right there, folks, 0.000 of a second separating Colin Ullery and Evan Dupree for that third position. Drew Eisenman coming home in fourth. Chris Darling in fifth. Joshua Sobel sixth. Ben Mashburn, Jeffrey Vickery, Garrett Gleason, and Monty Glover rounding out the top 10 there, Justin.
Yep. Looks like 11th was Brent Wilson, and he looks like he led 2 laps tonight. We got Philip Scott in 12th. Andrew Hillman in 13th. Ryan Dupree in 14th. Cody Nevin in 15th. Kyle Lewis in 16th. Evan Burke in 17th. 18th will be James Woodard. 19th will be Shane Ledoux. Woody Woodward is in 20th. And then the 21st is Christopher Lawrence. 22nd, Mike Teller. 23rd, Ben Adams. And 24th, Evan Gilbert.
Yeah, 24 cars started here tonight at Daytona. But folks, a big shout out to our series sponsor, Taz Racing Customs. If you want a custom diecast, whether it's an iRacing car or a real world car that you just don't make a diecast for, make sure you hit up our friends over at Taz Racing Customs, a big sponsor here of the National Sim Racing Association, making this series in part possible here on Thursday nights here on 3Y TV. Also, big shout out to tonight's race sponsor, that being Garrett Gleason in that number 7 machine, picking up a top 10 here tonight in 9th position. He helped make the broadcast possible for all you folks here tonight. And we also want to give a big shout out to Sim TV, who brings us the camera angles each and every week here on 3Y TV. If you're watching one of our broadcasts where you're watching Sim TV camera angles, make sure you go give them a like and subscribe on YouTube as well. But Justin, a great race here tonight, and I'm expecting to see more good action in the SIMBOX Truck Series here tomorrow night on the channel. Any final thoughts?
Nope, I'll be racing in that truck race tomorrow night. So come out and give us a little bit of support, because we do this for fun, but we also do it for our people that like to watch us race and have a little bit of fun on the side.
Absolutely. Well, for myself, Peter Short, Justin White, and everyone in the 3Y TV production truck, all you folks have a good night, and we shall see you next week. See ya!